Newspaper is the most important part of our lives. Still, many of us don't think so for a number of excuses such as lack of motivation, feeling fatigue, not making out enough time, or not at all finding it interesting enough, or thinking that the news we get in our device is adequate, but actually, it isn't. Compare the information from the newspaper and the one you receive on your device and you'll understand what is being said. But, what if I tell you that it is the most important thing to do, and even if I tell you about some alternatives later on, but they will still not be enough in comparison to the advantage of actually reading the news from the newspaper? I have an addiction of reading a newspaper daily. I can't imagine a day without reading the newspaper, or else I feel woeful if due to any reason I am not able to, which happens twice a year, when it's Independence Day and second when it's my birthday. Developing a habit of reading a newspaper will really help you in many ways, which are described here. Perks of reading the newspaper. The biggest advantage of reading a newspaper is that it adds value to you and your personality. It improves your English or any other language in which you are reading it in. It enhances your confidence, and it actually makes lives easier as you are updated with the current issues, achievements, facts, discoveries, research, laws, events, ideologies, politics, movements, historical facts and whatnot. It also improves your memory to a certain extent, increases your reading skills and indirectly writing skills, as well. The perks are immense, and it doesn't cost more than a rupee. What to do to make it a habit? Making something your habit is not that difficult if you see, but maintaining that habit is actually what takes a lot of effort, time, energy and enthusiasm. You need to understand that a newspaper is full of vital information and updates which are important for you, no matter what you are doing, wherever you live. It's actually immaterial in comparison with what a newspaper can provide you. It can be your best friend at times and your biggest enemy. Make something your addiction which adds to your self-growth, and yes, a newspaper does add to your self-growth. Try to make it a habit and see the transformation in your personality, confidence, knowledge, mental health, and it will definitely help you in giving an edge to whatever you are currently pursuing in life or going to pursue. The 21-day magic. There's a little secret that if you want to make a habit of something, then try it doing daily for 21 days only, with no gap and with no single doubt in your mind. If you want to get rid of any habit, don't do that thing for 21 days and then see the magic. Conditions: do it consecutively for 21 days with no gap. Do it with no single doubt in your mind that you'll accomplish your desired goal. Try to keep that particular work better day by indulging yourself more and focusing on that particular moment when you are doing that thing. Beware of fake news. You'll come across various messages, audios, pictures, videos on social media, but you should be aware that everything is not true. Follow genuine sources of information on social media, and if the news is fake, then immediately report it. The government is currently discussing various proposals for the distressed agriculture sector. Few reported to be under consideration include interest-free loans, loans without collateral and an income support scheme. But what exactly is causing this distress? What is the pain point of Indian agriculture? Low agricultural commodities prices has been the front runner for agricultural distress. And rightly so. I would like to take it one step further. Reduction of expenses, as consumption and not capital expenditure, is the major spend for rural households. Also, the marginal utility for such asset creations is very low, as demonstrated in the recent state elections. Increased and sustainable disposable incomes, not increased loans, is the demand and need of the distressed agri and rural sector. The current discussions for solving agricultural distress should consider this sentiment as the underlying guiding principle. Two-way street. The central government downloading knowledge of state-run schemes for national implementation is definitely one approach. In addition, enhanced financial support to states implementing effective agri-reforms would also prove beneficial. The Ministry of Agriculture's proposed Ease of Doing Agribusiness Index can be a good parameter for assessing states on agri-reforms. The centre and state governments, Gathbandhan, a favorite term these days, over agriculture would definitely be the best form of coalition. I live in Pune now. I have an Aadhaar card, PAN card and every proof that I am a Maharashtrian domicile now. Here also I was called outsider for many years, even today after 14 years of living in the state, paying my income tax, my property tax and every other thing that a responsible citizen can do, I'm still an outsider. But you know what, I really couldn't understand that. How can a person be a migrant in his own country? How can a person be treated in a different way in one's own country? How can I be called an outsider in my own country? Be it Kashmir, Jammu or Pune, in my passport, I will still be Indian. There is one thing called a cultural difference, but what we faced was not a cultural difference. It was something else, something that cannot be explained. Something that is beyond my knowledge. We take so much pride in our cultural diversity, but we cannot accept the geographical diversity. We will be South Indians, Northwest and East Indians, but never Indians. I have no identity, am a migrant, an outsider and a girl who married a non-J&K guy, so I can no longer claim to be a J&K resident now. I will be a refugee and a migrant for my whole life. India's 70th Republic Day was celebrated today with great reverence at Oak Ridge International School, Visakhapatnam. The day began with a prayer followed by flag hoisting by our principal sir. He spoke eloquently about our diverse nation and the relevance of the Constitution and the preamble. He enthralled the audience with inspirational stories and reiterated the need for being resolute in our path to achieve our goals. The cultural program included patriotic group song, yoga, pom-pom and a mini sports day. Today we are proud of our nation's achievements and look ahead to a bright future for our country India, which has flourished despite adversities to rise victorious. The government spent thousands of crores on minority institutions like AMU, Jamia, Presidency University etc., but they do not give lawful and proper representation to Hindus, SCs, STs, and OBCs. On foreign infiltrators like Rohingya Muslims, Bangladesh infiltrators etc., the government spent thousands of crores of taxpayers' money. It is also the huge criminal waste of public money. Citizens go with great hope to the courts, but courts take decades and decades in deciding the cases. Indian courts have maximum vacations and holidays, and most of the time lawyers are on strike. Dates and adjournments are the most regular feature of courts. Litigants have to suffer for decades and decades. They have no remedy but to bear this institutional violence. In India, there are around 2.5 million NGOs and the governments give them grants and donations very liberally. It is a well-known fact that NGOs do nothing and all the work is done only in files. However, they intrude on the lives of the citizens very violently. This is a big criminal waste of money, but the government institutions are very kind to them and the poor citizens have to live with this institutional violence. India has the maximum number of students in the world. There are around 25 crores students in primary and secondary education and 12 crores in higher education. Nevertheless, more than 75% are non-serious students, but the government has to spend a huge amount of money on these non-serious students. No detention system, CBCS, moderation, standardization, percentile system, positive discrimination, reservation, internal and continuous assessment etc. are some sick methods which are introduced in the names of reforms to promote these non-serious students. There is a huge waste of public money on education. If examinations, evaluation and admissions are conducted without any cheating, pass percentage cannot cross the 20% mark. Every year millions of government employees, PSU employees, bank employees, teachers, doctors, etc. are transferred every year without any logic, and thousands of crores of public money is spent on this transfer industry. Ironically, the transfer industry is the most corrupt industry in the country. Not only this draconian transfer system breaks and divides families, create immense tension and disruption in the lives of the victim. But people live with this institutional violence. Families are devastated and ruined by this transfer system. This is the most brutal institutional violence. Women must be posted near their family. Breaking a family is the most inhuman state violence. Regardless of any individual ideology or affiliations, the above-mentioned facts are uncontestable. It is a plain reality that our government has been inflicting scars on the individuals with institutional violence. Now people have surrendered and accepted this institutional violence. Institutional violence is at every step. Instead of wasting money and resources on this violence, the state should do some other positive, useful and welfare things. The state should spend money on health, villages, farmers, agriculture and better infrastructure. It is a naked point that our political masters are driven by greed, votes and power. They need votes to win, voters need freebies, and again this is institutional violence. The purpose of this article is not to support or oppose any ideology, group or government but highlighting the wrong or misplaced priorities and actions. The cost involves the money of not only rich industrialists, but also of the middle class and poor. Nobody can justify the institutional violence. Banks and politicians are choking our nation, wasting our money and aiding corruption. We need a pressing, Clean India drive, to clean up the system. This isn't just about some billionaire, it is about 1 billion people. Judiciary needs urgent reforms. Reward those who catch cheating. Government jobs and promotion should be given to those who catch bribes and corruption. Today in India we see that our leaders are successfully diverting our minds from the real issues to those problems which are not only self-created right in full public view but are downright stupid which does not deserve any discussion or attention. Mandir, cow, Hindu religion, reservation etc. have occupied the minds of people fully which prevents them from thinking about mundane but very important issues like the environment, trees, use of plastic, quality of roads, drinking water, drainage etc. We have to improve our lives and we only have to think as to how can we improve by working upon problems which touch us daily. Instead of that, our leaders put imaginary goals in front of us which excite us and which promise us heaven by indulging in them. For example, today the whole of India enjoys the harassment of minorities mainly Muslims and also of Dalits and others. This is evident by the fact that people vote that party into power which blatantly indulges in killing, raping, burning down the houses of Muslims and other minorities. People seem to enjoy marginalizing Muslims by not allowing them to stay in houses near them, openly boycotting them in job selection, throwing them out of businesses etc. Although only a few people do this, the rest of the so-called educated elite simply watch the fun from a distance, do not object or oppose it and then quietly vote for that party, thus tacitly supporting its activities, encouraging it to indulge more and more into it. What we need today is water, food, less pollution etc. But since these are mundane topics nobody is impressed by them. Our leaders excite people by mentioning Pakistan, Islamic terrorism, Kashmir, time and again to harness the attention of people and harvest their votes by satisfactorily entertaining them to the hilt. In the ongoing Karnataka Saurashtra Ranji match, Cheteshwar Pujara while batting in the Saurashtra first innings was caught behind the wicket. The ball flew off his gloves. Umpire did not see it. However, the batsman of his status who should be role model for young cricketers did not walk and continued to play. Such an ungentlemanly conduct in the game of gentlemen. This happened in the second innings too. Everybody heard the nick except the umpire. Pujara stayed on. Perhaps Karnataka cheated of Ranji trophy. Now useless and accomplish nothing. This Islamic practice separates Hindu men from Muslim men and hides the existing constitutional law against domestic violence that applies to all the people equally. Such laws and practices are against the very spirit of Indian constitutions. These laws are the mockery of secularism and equality. It is not the question of caste and religion. But there are people and vested interests who want to keep such laws and practices. This is because they are straightening out themselves from the SC, street and Muslim communities by not emphasizing the caste-neutral and religion-neutral laws against caste violence and domestic violence. Unfortunately, both sides are forcing to our constitution, judiciary and lawmakers to make them stronger. Moreover, the constitution guarantees the right to equality to all the citizens under the law. It is the responsibility of the state to enact such policy that does not distinguish between its citizens on the basis of caste, religion, and gender. But in practice, the country's governing system is the most racist system, which has converted the nation into an ethnic state, where caste and communal identities are the most powerful tags. In all walks of life, our system practices apartheid policy. The Indian constitution has faced many such caste and religious challenges and has come out the dark horse. When we look back at these failures, every Republic Day has no meaning left for it. If the Raj path is only festive but cannot face diverse moralities, have lost in caste and religious egos and merged into it.